Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
I was a little bothered by the fact that Zelensky was saying, well, I have to get constitutional approval. I mean,
Volodymyr Zelensky is not invited on Friday?
He wasn't a part of it.
Without any prior public consultation with Ukraine, President Trump announced that his upcoming meeting with Putin on ending the Russia-Ukraine war could involve a land swap.
There'll be some land swapping going on, and there'll be some swapping, there'll be some changes in land, and the word that they will use is, they make changes.
President Trump might not have felt there was anything inappropriate about not informing Ukraine beforehand.
Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
Though President Zelensky has always been passionate and evokes zeal in the public, he unfortunately doesn't have much say in the Russia-Ukraine war.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our military, your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking.
Tragically, despite enduring relentless attacks, Ukraine is sidelined in peace talks, overshadowed by Russia, the U.S., and the EU.
And if it's a fair deal, I'll reveal it to the European Union leaders and to the NATO leaders, and also to President Zelensky. I think out of respect, I'll call him first, and then I'll call them after.
With money leaking from a broken pipeline.
The biggest economic development job, the biggest job that Russia had ever built, I stopped it. It was dead. I was not nice to him because of the pipeline. I ended the pipeline.
Tanks crippled by the javelins.
I also gave the javelins. Do you ever hear of a javelin? Javelin is called a tank buster. And those tanks got stuck in the mud. I don't know who that general is, but knowing Vladimir, he's probably not around any longer because all those tanks were stuck in the mud and they went along with the javelins. I gave him the javelins. You know that, right? I gave him javelins.
Putin really needs a sound excuse for the Russian people. However, as President Trump boasts, Putin's agreement to meet in Alaska signifies he could ask for less.
But I thought it was very respectful that the president of Russia is coming to our country as opposed to us going to his country or even a third-party place.
Trump stated that Russia has seized numerous Ukrainian offshore assets, implying that a shift in the control of Crimea is very probable if the meeting progresses successfully.
They've occupied some very prime territory. We're going to try and get some of that territory back for Ukraine. But they've taken some very prime territory. They've taken largely ocean, in real estate we call it oceanfront property. That's always the most valuable property. If you're in a lake, a river, or an ocean, it's always the best property. Well, Ukraine, a lot of people don't know that Ukraine was largely 1,000 miles of ocean. That's gone.
The deal would be largely considered done as long as the EU agrees with Russia's requirements. Regarding Ukraine, President Trump has been annoyed a lot with President Zelensky for his inability to get his people done.
I was a little bothered by the fact that Zelensky was saying, well, I have to get constitutional approval. I mean, he's got approval to go into war and kill everybody, but he needs approval to do a land swap.